Lan, I've made it to the Zoo network. Great. Look for the server. It's in there somewhere. Roger. Hurry, Megaman. Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Replay Megaman Battle Network 3 for the belated 420 sub special. Blah, 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 blah. And now I got that out of my system. Hi. The Zoo network is one I liked on my first playthrough, but on repeat playthroughs I think it actively goes on a little too long with how they use it at least. But let's talk about the encounters in here primarily. A lot of the enemies around here are familiar ones. Metar 2s, Boomers, Spiky ones, Ratties. But the big thing to note is that a lot of the battles in here actively have different tiles going on, namely some cracked panels, which we're used to seeing by now, and grass panels, which do the same thing they did in Battle Network 2. Any wood-type enemies on them will recover HP, but you can also deal double damage to any virus on them using a fire attack. So if you get a heat shot from a Spiky, use it around here, but also be careful if you get hit by one. So we got a lot of animal-type programs here, huh? Interesting. Ooh, and that's Get on One. That turns every single panel in the field into a cracked panel. Squeak, squeak! A mouse-like virus is blocking the way. Maybe we can move it by bringing something it hates. Well, we did just see a cat-type program a second ago, so let's backtrack here a little bit. Grab the program in question and see if that'll work. This is the mechanic for this area on large. I think where a program is following you, the encounter rate is either reduced or turned off, though, by the feel. Meow. Squeak! The cat-type program ate the mouse-type virus. And now we just repeat that. It's essentially a trivia game testing your knowledge of animals and either what they're afraid of, what they eat, all that jazz. Investigating around and talking to NPCs in the zoo can help a little bit with this, to my knowledge. But a lot of them are also just sort of common sense type things. So if you like know it from reality, you know it from the game. For instance, that's a frog-type virus. We're bringing them the snake-type program because snakes are one of the main predators for frogs across pretty much basically any ecosystem that has both of them, if memory serves. What makes the ZooComp a little bit rough, though, is that it's just one of the longest computers in the series, technically. It's one of the few scenario computers, especially this early on in one of their games, that takes up 4 different maps. Usually they tend to keep the early ones to like 2 to 3 maps per. Here's a rabbit-type virus. He seems lonely. So what else do we need but another rabbit-type program? And it got so happy that it exploded. Some of my favorite dialogue is actually in this section when you correctly get the right matchup, because it'll be stuff like, it got so happy, it exploded. Some people probably don't recognize that animation, like I said back in part 1. There were 3 animations that were cut out entirely for the Western releases of the game to make room for extra text and all that jazz. The jack-in, the title screen animation, but also the Navi-Cust has an animation every time you open it in the Japanese version, whereas in the Western releases, it just cuts straight to the Navi Customizer itself. Speaking of the Navi Customizer, we got that last time and went through the tutorial with Dad. Let's talk a little more about it. Like I said last time, I think it is just a general game changer for the series, is better in the long run. Even though there are still times I miss the straight-up power-up system from Mega Man's Battleworks 1, 2, and Network Transmission. But it just adds so much extra flavor for every player to fully customize Mega Man to the way they play that I really adore it. But like Dad said, there are 3, technically 4 main rules, and if you break them, Mega Man, when you run the program, will actually respond that things feel a little weird. That means you have a bug. The worse you've done the Navi-Cust setup, the worse the bugs can get, and I think the worse he responds. On top of that, when you actually leave the Navi-Cust and look at Mega Man's Mega Man screen, he is actually, like, artifacting on his sprite, and I believe that reflects in battle, even. So let's talk about the full list of bugs, and just how rough they can get. This is being fully just read off of the Navi Customizer page over on Rockman.exe zone. The 2 most basic bugs are directly linked, in that they actively impact your HP during some part of the battle. Namely, there's a bug that drains your HP during active combat, and one that only drains your HP when you're in the custom screen. They work on how many frames have passed since the last time your HP was drained by the bug in a 60 frame per second battle. For instance, the battle drained HP bug lowers your HP 1 every 30 frames at its lowest intensity, whereas the custom screen one is 1 every 31 frames. At level 2, they both drop your HP by 1 every 16 frames, and at level 3, it's 1 every 8. So if you have that bug at its worst intensity, your timer in battle suddenly seems more like a countdown to your own demise, because that can drain very quick. There is a bug that can actively change the panels on your side of the field at the start of battle. At its most basic version, it just cracks all the panels to start. But at level 2 or above, it actively changes all of the panels on your side of the field to swamp panels, which actively drain your HP like the HP drain bug does anyway, so be careful of that. But right now, though, we actually got a new virus, sort of. These are beetles. They were in Battle Network 2, but they've actively changed their design and pattern. They no longer patrol along a column. Instead, they work more like ratons, or ratties rather, in that they try to stay in a row that you're not in and will move as fast as they can to get away from you within that. They're in control of the single bomb battleship, which is essentially the little bomb battleship from Battle Network 2, in that it's a mini bomb you throw and it'll explode an entire column. It's nice, but I do have other things I prefer to use in the long run. Right here is something interesting. This is a Navi customizer version of the Sneak Run sub-chip, so you no longer even need to buy those. And because level is no longer a thing for Megaman outright in Battle Network 3 and beyond because the power-up system is gone, that now, I believe, basically removes encounters in areas that aren't like Navi refights or a 1 to 2 set of harder viruses per area. Unless it also takes your HP into account with that, but I seldom use it anyway. There's only really one area I use the Sneak Run battle chip, because I always want to fight enemies along the way for either battle chip drops that I can use for chip trader fodder if I don't need the codes themselves, or for Zenny, or bug frags especially. As you get further into the ZooComp, by the way, they do try to get a little more obscure with the information you need to try and match the programs up with. Like knowing that Mongoose and Cobras are considered rivals and all that. There's also times you have to bring multiple programs to destroy 2 viruses at once, so watch out for that. Going back to Navi customizer bugs, though, one that's a little harsh in some circumstances if you're looking for very specific things, is that there is a bug that can completely remove the chance of you getting battle chips, period, from random battles. It'll only give you Zennies if it's possible. But there's times you also might want that if you're trying to grind up Zennies, so look for that, I guess. I believe certain programs will almost always give certain bugs if you break a certain rule, so you can use that to your advantage in cases like that. There is another customizer bug that will completely just guarantee you have the slow gauge chip in effect by default, essentially. So the custom screen takes longer to get to between phases, and that is rough unless you're specifically using the custom sword battle chip setup. Another player bug that can be really rough is one that actively influences Mega Man's movement. At its lowest level, it'll make Mega Man always move up when he can. At the level after that, he'll always move down. After that, he'll start the battle with the confusion status ailment pretty much every time. And that randomizes Mega Man's movements completely. I forget if it's every time you press the D-pad though, or if it's just guaranteed to be a certain set for every battle, because I seldom get hit with confusion because I try to avoid it as best as I can. Next up, there's a bug that just outright increases the encounter rate, so it's sort of just an anti-sneak run. But again, if you're grinding, that one might actually be beneficial in some cases. There are some bugs that can just prevent some programs that you put in your Navi customizer from taking effect, period. I think that's especially if you put 2 of certain types of programs into your Navi customizer. But then there's the ones that are kind of funny in some cases, the ones that directly impact your Mega Buster specifically. For instance, one of them will actively essentially make your Mega Buster useless at points in a fight. At its lowest level, it makes 25% of your shots effectively just fire blanks. At level 2, it's 50% of your shots are effectively blanks. And at level 3, for the first 15 shots, your normal Buster shot just becomes the guard battle chip, which actively has some use, I'd say, in early portions of the game with the Navi customizer, but not so much by late game. The other Buster-related one's kind of funny in that it actively targets your charge shot in specific. At level 1, it turns your charge shot into a rock cube you spawn a panel ahead. I don't know if you can actively use that to do, say, like the rock shoot type attack in some cases if you bring in air shots, but if you can, hey, infinite rock cubes, so put all the air shots you can into your folder. The level 2 of that changes your charge shot into a water shot that does about 100 damage, and at level 3, that bug makes your charge shot spawn a magical flower that does nothing. There are ways around bugs held down the line. There's even a Navicus program that removes any bugs you have, period. But for right now, if you're playing along, just try to avoid them as best you can. Because it's time for the boss! Is that a virus? No, it looks like one. But that's a Navi.
So you found me out. I was hoping you'd get closer to my ripping claws. But I guess you're a bit smarter than you look.
You'll never fool net battlers like us.
Oh, how cute. But I hate you noisy human-shaped navies. You're always so arrogant, always looking down on us.
Beastman, enough chatter. Hurry up and delete it. How can you call yourself a zookeeper and still do this?
I'm no zookeeper. I'm a World 3 member, stupid. Got it?
World 3? But Wily is supposed to be dead.
Wily doesn't die that easily. He's gathered us together and built an all-new World 3. But enough of that. Beastman, can you hear me? You delete the Navi. I'll use the animals to get these kids. He doesn't play nice, does he? Now, boy, take the Call of the Wild to your grave.
Beastman can be a little bit of a problem on a first playthrough because he is fast. Arguably, in some ways, even a little faster than Quickman was in Battle 2, because Beastman's a lot more aggressive, too. One of his attacks is to spawn on one of the 4 tiles diagonal to you and try to dash through the panel you're on diagonally. Another one, he'll spawn on any of the 6 panels, up to 6 panels technically, in the column in front or behind you, and do effectively a wide sword with his claws. And another one he only does towards the latter part of his HP, where he kind of just separates his claws in head, and does several charges diagonally and throughout the entire row with them. So you need to be constantly moving for that attack. But as you can see, a good old life sword, which is sword, wide sword, and long sword of the same code, takes down his base 500 health pretty quickly. And hey, Flashman doesn't hurt either. Although thinking about it actually, from memory, I think Beastman can only do the wide sword type attack from in front of you in this particular variation. It's the later 2 variants that can do it from behind you. Here's hoping the animals immediately stopped.
That fool. Losing a battle by trying to show off.
You're the operator, why blame the Navi? There, now you can't control the animals anymore.
Oops, gotta run. Well, at least I got the second Tetra code. Wily will be happy. Time to run.
Wait, are you serious about Wily being alive? Too bad, he cut the connection. Lan, we can worry about World 3 later. Chisao comes first. You're right. Let's go check on everybody. Chisao! I feel like quack is not the sound those make, but okay.
Quack? Huh? Ah! I'm falling! Help me!
Watch out! Whew.
Big brother, you saved me!
No, you need to thank the #1 net battler there.
Huh? But you're the #1 net battler.
No, Chisao.
Dex, it's okay.
I guess I owe you one again, Lan.
Oh, I'm so glad that Chisao is okay.
Yeah.
I think I might cry.
What? Chisao came to take you to Netopia?
Yeah, I'm surprised myself.
So you're leaving?
Nah, don't worry. Somebody's gotta stick around as boss of AC/DC Elementary. I hate to disappoint Chisao and my father, though.
Well, don't let me keep you here. So what happened to Chisao?
He got homesick and went back to Netopia yesterday. I'm sorry for all the trouble he caused you guys. Please, accept my apologies. It was nothing.
Yeah, I think it's sweet the way you two are so close.
Really? I guess we are. I feel pretty good now, like I could take on World 3 alone.
Maybe you should try to become the #1 net battler first.
I'll get you for that, you little...
These 10-year-olds have almost died like 8 times each.
They've already deleted 2 of my navies. I'll get you, Lan, and your little navi, too. Well, at least I have the second Tetra code now. Only 2 more to go before I can finally initiate Cybergeddon! This time, I'm ready for anything. As long as he is on my side, Megaman can never stop me.
Friday, 1 month after the zoo incident. Thus, compression refers to the act of shrinking a large amount of data by utilizing the program's power. Shrinking data allows you to send and save even more data. Scilab quickly processes massive amounts of data on a daily basis by using compression. Ms. Mari, can Megaman be compressed too? Huh. I suppose he could be, but it requires some specialized processing. It wouldn't be easy. Oh man, I wish it were easy. Then when he tells me to do my homework, I could shrink him to the size of a bean. Lan? Just who would you shrink to a bean? I knew it. So that's how you feel about me. Fine. Go ahead and wake yourself up tomorrow. See what I care. I was just kidding, Megaman. I'd never do that. Really? I promise. Please, come on, wake me up tomorrow, okay? Oh, all right. Very well then. That's it for today. Just because tomorrow's Saturday, though, doesn't mean you shouldn't do your homework. See you next week.
Goodbye.
All right, no school tomorrow. What should we do? I don't know. Let's see what everyone else is doing. Sounds good to me. I hear that the next N1 Preliminary is going to be soon. That's great that all 4 of you are still in that race. Yeah, we did pretty well the last time, too. Tomorrow? Well, I don't have plans, but I can't leave home. I have to wait for a package to be delivered. Sorry. It'd be like that sometimes. No, I can't make it tomorrow. I have plans with my dad. Maybe next time. I know things are boring without me. Sure, yeah. Sorry, I can't make it tomorrow. I'm taking Chisao out. He was born in Etelvia, so he came back to visit. Well, that's nice, at least. What do you got from an email? Help? Higsby? Lan, it's Higsby. I have a favor to ask you, huh? Can you please come down to my store, huh? Alright, it's good to see it's going to be open again. Wonder what's up with Higsby. He seemed in a hurry. To be fair, he's either always been in a hurry or just kind of relaxing around. No real in-between with him. Welcome back to Higsby. Same layout from Battle Network 1, and seeing we got the chip trader once again, like in Battle Network 2. Using this automatically does save the game, so you can't spam it like you could back in BN1 for the really good stuff. But also we have this sign of Numberman here, which is an actual computer we can jack into. And not only there are a couple of mystery data here you're going to want to grab, but this is also probably the best computer in the game to get one particular virus's battle chip down the line if you don't get it now. First off, up here, we got an HP memory. Always good to get one of those. But also, if we roam around a little, we can find the virus I'm talking about in question. This is a Trumpy. The Trumpy line is interesting in that it's probably one of the few virus lines in the series that runs full support for the most part. For instance, Trumpies themselves don't actively attack, they just hop around in their column and occasionally flow off their fanfare. When a Trumpy virus's fanfare is in effect, the enemies or you get some sort of buff or debuff respectively. In the case of the Trumpy, every enemy that's not a Trumpy gets an invincibility buff for a few seconds. Hi, Lamb. Thanks for coming. Are you okay, Higsby? Yes, I'm fine. I came back safe and sound from a sales trip, but I kinda cold, huh? You said you wanted to ask us something? Actually, I have 3 errands to run today, but I don't think I can do them with this awful fever, huh? I was hoping you'd be so kind as to run the errands for me, Lan. Of course, I'll pay you as a part-timer. Me? A job. I'm just a 5th grader. You're willing to trust me? But of course, you're the most trustworthy elementary school student around. Just don't tell Miss Mari. But Don't worry, Lan, it's for Higsby. It'll be educational. Besides, Miss Mari told you not to goof off, right? Well, she did say to study. I guess if it's educational, that's the same thing. Okay, I'll do it. I'll work for you. Really? Oh, thank you. Now for your first job, huh? The other day I purchased some equipment. I promised I'd pick it up today. I'd like you to go pick it up for me, huh? The merchant will be waiting at AC/DC station. Go get my equipment from him and bring it back here, huh? Roger that. I'll get going right away, huh? Boylan, you really seem to be getting into this. I guess I should go too. Let's go, huh? Yeah, huh? Okay, no need to mimic me, huh? Go on now, huh? I'm counting on you. I've always loved Higsby. There's something about him I just find the right amount of humorous. But now there's a new shortcut. I can't believe Dex made a shortcut to the AC/DC square. Just to show him, I made a shortcut to the Scilab square. It's on my homepage. Feel free to use it anytime. Mine is much better than Dex's. I opened the gate already, so come whenever. Not my favorite shortcut overall, but it's definitely the one I probably use the most in the campaign. See that chip trader that looks like Numberman? That's the number trader, and it's only found in this store. You input an 8-digit number, but I don't know any. So we're gonna take a few moments here and use essentially every single number trader code that's actively known, because as long as you know the code, you can get them right now. The way it works, you enter an 8-digit number. Let's start by inputting 234158991.
Processing number, beep beep beep. Processed, winning number detected, take your prize.
And that gets us the Air Shoes Navicus program, so now we can walk over broken tiles and holes if you have that equipped. How you're supposed to find these codes depends on the code itself. Some of them are listed in the game itself, some are listed in the spin-offs, like there's some for, I believe, Battlework 4 over in Battleship Challenge. Others are found in just scenes and frames of the anime's animation. But one of the more famous ways that there's even fake codes out there for was there were like wafer chocolates that Capcom worked with the candy company to put out, and that came with little slips of paper that also had lotto codes on them. In fact, I think the Megaman knowledge base actively lists which ones were found in chocolate wrappers and which ones weren't. That code right there gave us Mr. Famous's wristband, which doesn't do anything outright for now, but it does influence one particular battle chip. If you use every code as soon as you can in any of these games moving forward, you can actually get some really good battle chips very early. And I am going to be doing this for every single game because it just removes having to get them down the line anyway. But also notably, you also get some pretty good Navicust programs and sub-chips out of this. Like we just got the Fast Gauge Navicust program, which can't fit in mine for now, but it will down the line. In terms of the notable battle chips we're getting on this particular grind, we're getting Ep.3, which is just a stronger airshot. We just got Gaia Blade there. That was actually a secret chip back in Battlework 2. The way that one works is that whatever chips you select after that in the custom screen get added to its attack power like it's an attack plus chip. There's also Hero Sword, which is essentially a better longsword that cuts 3 squares forward. There's Bolt that targets things like Rock Cube for Thaleca damage that will then hit the panels around them. You can get copy damages, gut straights. One I'm very much a fan of that you can get here is Step Cross, which Mega Man will teleport 2 squares forward and slash the square in front of him with 2 diagonal slashes that actively do work, sort of like Beastman's diagonal attack. But the square in the middle of that X that gets created by it actively gets hit for double the damage. You can also get Fountain, which will essentially cause a wave of water to be generated out of any hole in the ground in front of you. Muramasa is really good. The damage of that is equivalent to whatever HP you've lost from your total, so if you're running around at like very low HPs, that can do a lot of damage to anything. Salamander, I believe, is an inverse fountain where you send fire from yourself into nearby holes and it'll then damage surrounding tiles. Set Sand allows you to set the entire field into being, sand panels, so if you want to get enemies stuck around, you can do that. There are some codes that are effectively more useful than others, though, because some of the sub-chips you can go either way on, like the full energies and sneak runs aren't that useful, but things like the unlockers or the locate enemies you can get from this are really useful. But then there's things like the spin parts. You can now rotate blue Navicust programs with L and R. For every Navicust program color in the game, by and large, there is a spin part you can find somewhere. Most of them are gotten through lotto codes, though. Or at least a lot of the ones you would really want to use. And if you want to make the most out of your Navicust space by endgame, these are essential. Some of them will depend on your taste, like for me, Spin Blue is indispensable down the line, but Spin White is just universally useful, so you should definitely get that one. Some of them are also just good program advanced fodder, like we already got high cannon asterisk and we just got spreader asterisk, so if you're trying to do certain program advances, they're pretty good for that. There's the step cross battle chip I really like, that can do upwards of 260 damage without attack pluses, which is really good. Also, I know I've been doing recently a lot more post-processing for speed up like this, just to make it look more like it's actually being sped up like a VHS filter almost. I'm not doing that for this section, just because that way it's a lot more clear what numbers are actually being input. I don't want to try and hide that information accidentally in any regard if you're trying to play along. That right there is the one you should definitely get no matter what though. Variable stored F. For my taste, that's really good because I use F code a lot during the main campaign because of how much I like Flashman's chips. But variable stored on its own is just absurd. Similarly to Battle Network 2, it has inputs where you hold down the button and input like Hadouken motions or all that to do different sword attacks that all do the base 160 damage. But Battle Network 3 added one that wasn't in Battle Network 2 that is one of the most broken offensive options in the entire series, and you're damn right I'm gonna be milking the hell out of that for the rest of the LP. For right now, we're back in the Navi customizer, and Sneak Run just shrank. So yes, you do have to follow the rules, but the nice thing about any non-plot essential program part, like Sneak Run, like Air Shoes, is that you can hold select while highlighting them and input a specific per program 6 code input and shrink them. For instance, with Sneak Run, if you hold select and press RLB down, 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 it shrinks. For Air Shoes, it is up BB down AR. For Undershirt, it is left up BL left up. For Fast Gauge, it is B down AR right down. Programs that are plus parts, like the weapon levels, attack pluses, and all that, they don't have compression codes. You can do nothing to them. You need to be careful with compression codes, though, because at least here in Battle Network 3, they are not reversible from memory. Battle Network 4 Beyond, I believe you can just input the compression code again to reverse it. And the reason it'd be unoptimal in some cases is, say you have a 4x4 square program with an extra panel towards the top left. More often than not, what the compression code will get rid of is that one awkward panel at the top left, and if you want several things on the command line, you want to use that specific panel on the command line rather than it taking up 4 spaces on it. For now though, we just took a look at my folder now because I've done extensive edits to that as well to get that variable stored in there because I'm going to use the hell out of that. Yo, Higsby, you're younger than I thought. Well, anyway, about that order system you needed. Sorry, actually, I put it in my briefcase and forgot the case at an inn I stayed at yesterday. I don't suppose you could do me a favor and go get it? It's always gotta be me, doesn't it? Thankfully, we only know of one inn in the series thus far, barring the hotel in Utopia back in BN2, and that's just a hop, skip, and a jump away, isn't it? But first, now that we're past Beastman scenario, a familiar face is here in Yoka. I'm Mr. Famous from Dr. Hikari's lab. I'm on vacation now. Our meeting here must be more than mere chance, though. I'll tell you my secret information. Did you get the chip of the hard-bodied Navi of a certain power type? Hold down the A button to move the control pad before it punches to designate the place of attack. That's it for the lecture. Now, let's battle. Challenge Mr. Famous to a net battle. So, the hints he gives when you talk to him outright are usually input commands for battle chips and all that. I think sometimes he'll actually hint towards compression codes as well. But here's the fun thing, at least somewhat fun. Mr. Famous is not here if you're playing Battle Network 3 White. He and his new Net Navi, Punk, are blue exclusive. Notably, Punk is the only Mega Man killer from the Game Boy Mega Man games to actually be converted into a Net Navi, and I believe that's because he was Inafune's favorite of the set? Punk can be a certainly hectic fight, though. That is if we don't use our newest tool in the variable sword, F's Elemental Sonic Boom attack by holding A and pressing BB left, down, up. That's an absurd attack, and I'm using that basically the rest of the LP. Attack-wise, Punk can do a couple of rolls that work either like the Boomer Virus's attack or works in waves. He can reach behind him to punch you from behind. I think he can also just try to punch you outright with his hands, and otherwise he'll just kind of spin around in circles. And his battle chip has basically every single one of those attacks, but if you're playing along, unless you're using the download cards in the Legacy Collection, you're not getting this here, because he'll only give you Zenny. I am using this on-screen Game Shark code to get this in the emulator, because I just want to talk about it. Nice fight. Looks like I'll have to improve Punk more. Notably, Mr. Famous's wristband influences Punk's attack pattern as a battle chip, and I think also doubles his damage outright. I'll talk more about the specifics of how his attacks work, though, in a few moments, because they're actually kind of complicated. For now, though, we want to come into the inn and go find that guy's bag, and along the way, We can also grab a regular up that is now spawned in this vase over here. Similarly to Battle Network 2, there are some items that only spawn when you're at a certain point in the plot, and there's also some computers you can only jack into at certain points in the plot moving forward. There's something under the desk. There's the bag. This is the bag that salesman was talking about. Back to AC/DC Station. Indeed, and let's just cut right on over there. Thank you, Higsby. Your kindness is why your shop does well. Thank you so much. Well, here's the product you ordered. I look forward to doing more business with you. And we got the order system. I look forward to getting your orders. So let's go give that to him and move on to the second errand Higsby has for us. Here you go, buddy. Oh, good to see you back, huh? This order system lets me order all kinds of chips, huh? Okay, let's get to the next job, huh? I have a bad buyer who won't pay for his chips, huh? I heard he's in AC/DC Area 1 right now, huh? Find that Navi and bring me the 1,000 zenny he owes me. Please do anything you need to get the money, huh? Notably, if you talk to him after this, he'll say, wait, no, this is your money, you can't give me this. Also notably, one of the few Sharkman references in the later games is behind him in his shop, and I always liked that because Sharkman was neat even though his fight sucked. Thankfully though, this Navi is very early in AC/DC Area 1. He is just outside of Land's homepage, so the moment you get out of here, you'll see him very quickly. There he is.
What's your problem, punk? Huh? Higsby? He says he wants his money. I'm not paying for that useless chip. Here, give him a virus instead. Ha!
Oh no, a Snowblow and 2 Canodoms. Snowblows are weird enemies in that they have an animation that looks like the vacuum and wind boxes from Battle Network 2 and 3 here. And while I think it sucks you in, its attacks actually spawn several tornadoes that will then try to sort of home in on you, sort of like how Airman's attack worked in Battle Network 2. Ultimately though, pretty easy to kill. Their battle chips aren't anything too special. I've never really gotten much use out of them myself, but I also probably just haven't experimented around with them enough to find a proper play style. So, I lost. I don't believe it. Okay, I suppose you want me to pay. Here, take it. I was sure you wouldn't have a chance, but we're not done in the internet yet. I want to head over to AC/DC 2 and find some very specific enemies. In specific, we're looking to refight a certain Navi, because I only have his version 1 in my folder. You might be thinking, wait, the only Navi you fought anywhere in the AC/DC area that wasn't like a Gutsman type encounter was over in Area 3. That is true. Battle Network 3 changes up how you find your V3 Navis a little bit, in that while they are random encounters still, they're random encounters in areas usually completely disconnected from where you found their alpha fight. Usually there is some hint that you can find somewhere in the game to their existence, like sometimes, in this case for instance, I think someone over in AC/DC Town itself will say they saw some weird bright lights over in AC/DC 2, so Flashman Beta is now a random encounter around here somewhere randomly. You just gotta find him. Other versions of that, we'll talk about as we go throughout. For now, though, we're going to get some new battle chips. I just got the Boomer battle chip, which I've already talked about. It's the same attack as that. Plasma, I believe, surrounds yourself in 2 balls of electricity that'll rotate a couple times. Not too useful. Flashman Beta is who I'm here for because I want both his version 2 and 3 chip. And Flashman Beta can be a bit of a problem because he moves very quickly, but you can also stun him in place using things like himself or air shots and then follow up with an elemental sonic boom from the variable sword to take him out almost instantly. Which is why I say that chip is one of the best in the game. Get as many variable swords into your folder as you can. For right now, though, let's talk a little bit about the Punk battle chip and how he works. By default, without the wristband, the main attack they're going to use is the rolling attack that has a similar range to the Boomer Virus's attack, where they roll forward and up into the enemy and then back. If you're at low HP, or if you have the wristband, though, it becomes the version that is a wave up and down, which is a lot better for hitting, by and large, any enemy. Although, if he runs into a pit, I believe the attack does get cancelled. If you press left and B before he attacks, he does the punch behind him that will then reach behind the nearest enemy. The next two are where things get really weird with Punk, though, because if you charge up a charge shot in the middle of your back row and use him, he does his chain attack, which from memory is his best attack, period. And then there's a follow-up to that we'll talk about in a moment after we talk to Higsby here. Well, let's see. Yep, 1,000 zennies, huh? Alright. Lan, you'd make a pretty good chip dealer, huh? Okay, on to the next job, huh? Take this chip to a red nabby in Scilab area too, huh? She's not the nicest nabby, but she's a client, so be nice. All right, and we even get a Raton 1C, which even though we're not gonna be able to keep this chip, that does get registered into your library. So the final attack Punk has is only accessible if you have Mr. Famous's wristband from the number trader. In specific, you do the same requirements as the chain attack. So charge up a charge shot in the middle of your back row. And then use Punk. But before he attacks, press down right, and then I think it's essentially the rolling attack going off twice in a row, which also is pretty good. Alright, Red Navy, right outside of Scilab Square is you. So you're Higsby. You have that chip I ordered? The luxury battleship Raton 1C. Yeah? I got it. It's well worth the 100,000 zennies. Let me tell you a secret to show my appreciation. Chips can be bought with money. If you have money, that is. I can tell why Higsby doesn't like you. Well, that's 3 for 3, though. Thank you, Lan. I know you do a great job, huh? Let me reward you for your trouble, huh? Here you go. And we get a Snake R chip. You're a lifesaver. You know, I studied programming on my trip. I learned some basic programming skills, so if you ever need help, just let me know, huh? Lan, you got mail. It's from DNN. It says, the final N1 Grand Prix preliminary will be held today. The location of the event is a secret. You must all find it by yourselves. We will provide you with the clue. Enemy of viruses, Cyber Square, yellow. We look forward to your arriving as soon as possible. The final preliminary? That means if we pass this, we'll be in the N1 Grand Prix. I'll bet this final preliminary isn't gonna be easy. Let's go for it, Lan. Of course. We've gotta get going, Higsby. I understand. Good luck, huh? Notably, the snake battleship he gave us works the same way it did in Bound Network 2. If there's a hole in the ground, a snake will pop out and move forward across the row. Hello, is that chip you have there a longsword E? Where did you find it? Is that my chip? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to imply that you stole it. I'm the one who lost your chip after all. I'm the one who has to pay the price no matter how high. I can't just impose on complete strangers. Still, he looks like a really nice guy. Maybe he'll help. Excuse me, the blue navvy there. Would you mind trading me that longsword E? I'll give you a... You can have this Cyber Yoka pass here. What a deal. Please? Sure. Wow, what a gentleman. Now she won't yell at me. Here, the item I promised you. You took good care of it, I see. So how'd you like my acting? Were you moved? Use that ticket to go to the Yoka Square to find what you need. That's who you need to talk to in order to progress. You do need a longsword E, but I think you can get those in not only easily from sortie viruses around here in Scilab area, but also I think in a green mystery data occasionally. But now that we have the Cyber Yoka Pass, we can actually access Yoka's internet, because otherwise you can only see a brief preview of it from Tamako's homepage, essentially. Yeah, the reason you had to go to the Cyber Square, the enemy of viruses is Scilab, so the Scilab Cyber Square, look for a yellow navvy. That's what the hint was going for a few moments ago. And here in Yoka Square, there's even a new minigame. I recommend saving before it, just in case, though. Hey, wanna play a little game? Now it's time for Cyber Simon Says. Yeah, woo woo! Get ready, Megaman. You bet, Lan. All you have to do is push the button that I tell you to. The time limit is 1 minute. You win if you can press the correct button 60 times. Good luck. There are several variations of this throughout the game that get stricter with the time limit and the amount of presses you need to do within it. They're not too required. In fact, I think at best, the only thing you get from any of them is just bug frags. And by end game, there are certain virus fights or boss fights that are refightable that are better to grind those out anyway. But if you want to do something a little different, they're here. I think pressing the incorrect button loses you enough time for about 2 or 3 extra button presses if you're fast, so both be quick, but make sure you're actually looking at the balloon to see what you need to press instead of just hitting the same thing over and over again out of instinct, because I've gotten into that habit very easily. Wonderful! Congratulations! Perfect! Clap, clap, clap. And here's your prize. Yeah, 1 bug frag for all that effort, no thanks. It's faster to go get counter hits on 3 Metars for 8 of those than doing that. Take a look at the net shop here. There's some chips that are harder to find around now, particularly Lance is really good. Shake I also really like, even though the R code isn't my preferred one for this particular playthrough. Step Sword's also really nice, but I have other goals for that particular coding. If you're playing along, my best bet is just get the HP memories if you have enough. But you're likely going to have at least enough for the first HP memory. For now, though, our destination lies at the very southern part of the square. Hello there, so you're Megaman, we've been waiting. Yoka Square is the site of the N1's final preliminary. How'd you like the acting of the girl in Scilab Square? Let's see that same spirit from you, Megaman. Alright, time for your last mission. Yay! Clap, clap, clap. Yay! Come on, everyone, applaud. Yay! Excuse me. Hey, what are you doing? Your folder was changed for the preliminary. You must use the preliminary folder until the preliminary ends. What the? I can't switch my folder? Hey, I didn't know about this. Great job, what a reaction. You could have your own show. All right, people, I want energy. Got it? Places, places. Time for mission number 1. This is reality TV, when viruses attack. And action. The rules are simple. There are 5 people in the real world dressed like navvies. Beat them all in net battles. Then hightail it back here when you finish. Good luck. So, pretty much what he said on the tin, there are 5 people dressed like navvies across the real world, and we need to find them. Thankfully, for one thing, the folder they gave us isn't too bad. It's actually a very easy way to get Lance there in panel grab for your library. And there's even a program advance in there for you if you want it. And since the real world at this point is pretty small, pretty easy to find the 5 of them as long as you check every room. Yeah, this suit is so hot. I hope this ends soon. I didn't get a job at DNN for this. What is that stupid producer thinking? Oops! Please don't say you're in the N1. Yep. Did you hear what I was just saying? Yep. Man, do I love this job. Come on, kid, let's battle! There are some new viruses along the way here, but only a couple. For instance, we got the returning Wind Box from Battle Network 2. Whenever these things are on the screen, they're a pure support virus, and they only blow you to your back row, or at least as far back as you can be blown if you use certain chips to break all the tiles behind you. Notably, by the way, over in Battle Network 3 White, this fight is against 3 Slammers, which is still pretty easy. I'm actively farming out a program advance right now because there's another one this folder has I haven't used yet, namely Hyperburst. By using 3 spreaders in alphabetical order of their chip code, you do Hyperburst, which is spreader that hits the target you're hitting outright, as well as the cardinals and inner cardinals up to 3 times each for 100 damage. I think it does like 600 damage total by the end of it on the center tile. Not too useful, but it has its occasional moments. Wow, you're good. Not good. Great. Hey, could you please pretend that you didn't hear me then? Sure thing, buddy. Sure. Next up, we want to head to the Teacher's Lounge. You're a participant in the N1, right? Darn, I didn't think anyone would find me here. Well, let's get started, shall we? No new viruses here, so we're just going to speed this up. Biggest threat here is technically the Metar 2, because they're the most active fighter here. Over in Battle Network 3 White, this fight is instead against 3 Raddies. That is definitely the harder fight. Whoa, you're good. I battled a lot of people today, but you're almost tops. Not bad at all. Also, just very quickly, we're going to jack back into this data server that we jacked into back in part 1, because I actively forgot the most important mystery data in here back then. When I realized this, I had a big dumbass moment. There's an HP memory here on the left. I just focused on what was on the right side instead. Whoops. For the next person in a Navi suit, we want to head on over to Scilab's lobby, and they're right there. So, you're in the N1 Preliminaries. I'm surprised you managed to find me. And now, battle me! You're the most in the open out of all of them. I don't know what you're talking about. No new viruses here in the blue version, but over in Battle Network 3 White, this fight is noticeably against 3 Shrimpies. I'd say this is the harder one just for the existence of the Ratty. Ah, how could you beat me? You're pretty good. Yes. And the final 2 Navis are both over in Yoka. In specific, the first one of the two is found over at the hot springs at the inn, so just follow the main hallway all the way to the end, and you'll find them pretty much in the open. But at least they're surrounded by a fence, I guess.
Well, well, look what the cat dragged in.
Yeah, you found me, but that don't mean nothing.
Let's see if you got what it takes to beat me, punk.
And this one actually does have a new enemy over here in blue, Vacuum Fan. It's a wind box, but it sucks you into your front row rather than your back row. Over in Battle 3 white, this is notably 2 beetles and a wind box. So, blue does have the harder fight there, just because sorties have more damage potential, but if you get good chips off the bat, don't worry too much.
Wow, you did super. Keep it up. What, I'm acting differently? Actually, this is how I really talk. All that talking up until now has been an act.
Alright. And finally, the last of the people in Navi suits is going to be at the zoo itself. But along the way, we can now jack into the ticket computers over here because you can't do that during the actual Beastman scenario. I think there's a virus that's easier to find here than elsewhere, but the main reason I'm going to come in here for now is this rig up. Nice to have, nice to have. For our final person in a Navi mascot suit, head over towards the zoo's head office here on the left. Hey, I'm Navi, the zoo mascot. Actually, I have nothing to do with N1. Beep boop. You sure seem to be with the N1. What makes you say that? There's no proof. It says DNN on your costume. No way! I was sure I got rid of that! Uh-oh. Gotcha. You tricked me! Now that you know my true identity, I'll have to delete you! And here we got another new virus. This is a Spiky 2, similarly to Battle Network 2. They are Spiky 1s, except faster and stronger, and with a slightly different attack pattern. Whereas Spiky 1's heat shot hit their target in the panel behind it, Spiky 2's hit their target in the 2 panels diagonally behind it. So in that regard, if you get their battle chip, it can be pretty useful for getting enemies at a good range if they're blocked off weirdly, but I prefer to use other heat elemental chips should I need them, or just variable swords heat portion of its elemental sonic boom, really. It is worth noting, in a lot of ways, the elemental sonic boom for the variable swords on its own makes it arguably about as good a single battle chip as Gator was in BN2 as a program advance. Because that was 3 battle chips for about 900 base damage, whereas on boss fights or single targets, Elemental Sonic Boom is 640 without attack plus chips. So since you can have multiple variable swords in a single chip selection, you can just bring out some severe damage to it. And I know some people would probably ban it for that, but it's too good to ignore in my eyes. You beat them all! Excellent work! Okay, time for mission number 2. Mission number 2 is a survival battle. If you can survive all 3 battles, you'll pass the preliminaries. That means you'll be able to compete in the N1 Grand Prix. Win or lose, be sure to perform for the cameras, okay? Are you ready? Starting off, over here in blue, we got a Quaker and an L-Ball. Over in 3 white, this is 3 Raddies. Then it's going to be a Metar 2, a Beetle, and a Canodum 2. Over in white, it is a Metar 2, a Fishy, and a Vacuum Fan. Then it's a Canodum 2, an Ella Ball, and a Wind Box, which over in 3 white, this is a Shrimpy 2, a Boomer, and a Spiky 2. Congratulations, you've cleared the final preliminary. We did it, Lan. Yeah, at this rate, we're going to win the N1 Grand Prix.
Yeah! I cleared the preliminary too. Let's kick butt at the Grand Prix together. Yeah!
I will also partake in the N1 Grand Prix. Good luck. I lost the final survival battle.
Everyone, please do your best for Mail and me as well.
You got it. We're going for the trophy. Right, everyone?
Of course we are. Yeah!
I shall do my best.
You don't sound like rivals talking before a tournament.
Proto Man! For people who will be fighting each other, you seem so relaxed. Chad, you'll be in the N1 Grand Prix too? If so, there's no way you're beating us. Huh, you pathetic kids don't stand a chance. Proto Man and I have been training for the past month, polishing our skills. We're ready for anything. Don't tell me you're the one who cleared the final preliminary in record time. Of course. Let me give you some advice, Mega Man. If you really want to win, you'd better get serious. This wishy-washy stuff about friends will get you deleted. Okay, that's enough mingling with the enemy. We have a mission to attend. Let's go, Proto Man. Yes, sir.
I hate that guy. Oh, Dix, you got mail from Chisao. It's about tomorrow's trip to the amusement park. Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, I gotta go.
Miss Yai, we must make preparations for the opera tomorrow. It would be wise to make haste. Oh, yeah, we're going to see the opera tomorrow. Very well. Good night, everyone. Hey, Lynn, are you free tomorrow? The bubble wash we ordered is coming, and I could use a hand installing it.
Sure, I guess so.
It's set then. Come to my house tomorrow.
Lan, why don't we jack out as well? We could, and I think I ultimately do, but there's a couple more things I want to do before we end this in-game day. Pretty much all of the business I want to take care of is related to Scilab in some way, though, but we're going to start by going to the real-life Scilab before we deal with anything on the Scilab internet. First off, I recommend use any money you got at this point to start investing in unlockers more regularly, because there are a lot of purple mystery data in this game to unlock. But also now we can interact with this board. The job BBS from Battlework 2 is back, and we got a lot of side quests we can do from the start. Looks like a new message indeed. Let's start with please deliver this. Can someone make a delivery for me? It isn't dangerous, so anyone can do it. I'm the red navvy between AC/DC Square and the Cyber Metro. Come see me and I'll tell you the rest. Accept this job? Yep. So that means the best place to jack in to reach them is actively back at Dex's homepage, so let's get over to AC/DC Area 1 from there, and head towards the northeast, and our client will be pretty obvious. Oh, are you Mega Man? Thank you for taking on my request. Here's what I need you to do. My husband forgot his work tools this morning. He's stubborn and he'll only use his own personal tools. I don't expect he can do any work without them. I should bring them, but we argued this morning. Here are the tools. Please take them to him for me. I think he's working at the school's blackboard today. Please go there and give him the tools. And when you're finished, please come back here. I'll have something to repay you with. If you can't tell from that, if you watch the Battlework 2 replay, the side quests in this by and large take the same shape. Get mission, go to client, meet client, find out thing, do thing, get reward. Sometimes it's more backtracking than others, but by and large it's worth doing because either you get rarer chips out of doing these or things like HP memories and regular ups. Ah no, I goofed up. I forgot to bring my work tools. That's it, no more work today. Eh? What? What do you want with me? Hey, my work tools! Hey there! Huh, give them to me before I change my mind. Tell the person who asked you to deliver these, I'm only taking them because I got no choice. And now we're good to go back to our client and get our reward. This is going to be a lot of jump cutting whenever I do side quests in the game because it's a lot of go here, go there, go here, go there. But first I want to come in here. A variety of books are lined up here. Science Made Fun, History Comics, The Hungry Stomach, Bonk, Something Fell from Between the Books, and Reg Up 2. You can get that as soon as this particular scenario and the plot starts. Honestly, I don't mind the generic computers being only accessible past a certain point in the plot in some cases, but the regular ups like that being only available past certain points in the plot feels weird. Did you do the job for me? What? My husband said that? Sometimes it can be so nasty. Well, I hope this is sufficient to repay you. Yo-Yo 1D? The yo-yo chips are a lot better in Battlework 3 than they were in Battlework 1 just because you get them so much earlier. You shoot one, it moves 3 panels forward, hitting enemies on the way to and from, but if an enemy's on the third tile, they'll take multiple hits. Word of thanks for your client. Thank you so much. My master's shy, so he's not good with words, but I know he's grateful. Thanks again. Every quest has dialogue like that, but I'm not reading a lot of them. Hello, my Nammy's feeling under the weather. Apparently I need a Recover 30 asterisk to fix him. Does anyone have a Recover 30 asterisk? I'll pay a reward for anyone who finds me the chip. I'm waiting at the Scilab station. This is a pretty easy job because you probably found a couple of those already just investigating green mystery data in AC/DC 3 in particular by now. And our client is right down here. Are you the one who accepted my job? I'm so glad that you came. It's my Nabby. She's got a fever and looks sick. So I want to recover 30 asterisk to make her better.
Please, I'll give you my reg Ep.3 if you can help her.
Sure.
Oh, thank you so much. Here, take this. You've saved my navvy.
As you can see, the quests kind of vary in length. There's some that are more annoying than others, but ultimately, they're pretty quick compared to some other RPG side quests. Help me with my son. This is rather embarrassing, but I'm having trouble with my son. I can't talk about it here, so can you come to Yoka Station? I prefer someone skilled in net battling. Except this job? Yep. The early quests are also pretty good about not having you go too far from one place to another or going all over the place. Usually it's one destination. Oh, you came. You're confident in your ability, right? As I posted, my son has been going around pulling worse and worse pranks. Lately, he's been spreading viruses. I'd like someone strong to knock some sense into him. He's hanging out in AC/DC now. Go over there and give him a wallop. I'm counting on you to send him straight. Alright. In specific, we need to go to the entrance of AC/DC 3 from AC/DC 2 to find this person's particular son. They stand out because they're what's known as a heel nabby, which is this purple nabby type. What's that? My mother's worried.
So you're the jerk she's using. Come on, bring it on.
We actually technically have a new enemy here, because I think this is the first time we've run into fishies in this particular LP, unless my notes have failed me. They do the same thing they did in Battle Network 2. They patrol their column, and when they get in the same row as you, they dash forward. However, unlike Battle Network 2, they actually now dash forward twice, even in their first variants, instead of it only being the later variants that do that. That does keep you a little more on your toes, and that means if you're going for high ranks against them, you need to actively dodge their attack twice potentially, or kill them before their attack fully goes off, but not too bad.
You're pretty strong for a jerk.
Okay, fine. Tell her I'll be good. Yeah, okay then. Back to her. Hey there, so you had a little talk with my boy? Thanks. I reckon I should have been the one talking to him, being his pop, but I don't know the first thing about net battling. Here's something for your troubles. Thanks again. I think they used the wrong parentage there, but oh well, this game series is full of typos as it is. And hey, you get spin yellow for that, which, considering yellow is a pretty generic piece of Navicust's programming color, that's a pretty good one to have. Transmission error. I sent some data to the wrong place. I need someone to delete it, or there's going to be trouble. Come to the virus lab at Scilab and I'll fill you in. Accept this job? Job accepted. Alright, this one's nearby as well, just up here to the left. I guess to the right, technically. I'm glad you came. Yes, I posted another job, BBS. You see, I have this little problem. I've mistakenly sent some virus data to the wrong place. I'm hoping that you can find that data and delete it. I know approximately where the data was sent. It should be one of the educational devices at the zoo. I'm sure that the virus data must be causing problems. Please, find the malfunctioning device. Then delete the virus that is inside of it. Alright, not too bad, nice and easy to find. In specific, it's one of the educational devices here in Zoo 2. With the flamingos, this computer's in bad shape and making odd noises. This seems to be the machine that sent the virus. We have to stop it before it causes any damage. Of course. Also, Megaman, this thing didn't send the virus, it got sent the virus. By the way, we got two new viruses here, a Ratty 2, which is a faster, more powerful Ratty, and a Yort. They're the same thing they were in Battle Network 2. They are in control of the Yo-Yo chip. They move in their column, but when they get in the same row as you, they fire their Yo-Yo 3 squares forward. That can hit you multiple times and combo you if you're at the edge of that 3 tile, so be careful with it. Also, that technically is an invincible Yo-Yo. You can't break it unless you use break elemental chips, technically. You've deleted the virus for me. You really helped me out. Please, take this as a reward. And hey, HP memory for that. Nice and easy. Over in Battlework White, by the way, that is a Snowblow and 2 Canodums, and the previous job's fight was a Canodum and 2 Boomers over in 3 White. I need to know the price of Rival is asking for a chip. If he finds out, it could get ugly, so meet me at AC/DC Square. Alright. This is probably the worst of the early game jobs, just in terms of what the backtracking is like, but hey, nice little shortcut. Instead of going to AC/DC outright, jack in here at the Virus Lab, and that just brings you directly into Scilab Area Square. So pretty easy access to a Cyber Metro from here, even faster I'd say than going into Dex's computer. And hey, if you want to explore Scilab area outright, not too bad either. In fact, we're going to be doing that very quick, because I want to head to the lower half of Scilab 1 near the Cyber Metro, because not only is there a blue mystery data over here we haven't grabbed yet, even though I already have the chip that's in it, but also Scilab 1's lower section is where we encounter our next Alpha Navi. In specific, follow this road to its edge, get past the Fishy and the Quaker as well in this case. Ooh, dash attack G, we need that for a program advance down the line. And at the edge of this road lies our next fight. I recommend saving, though thankfully, whenever you fight a set position Navi like this, they do heal you up beforehand. Beastman Alpha's here, and he's not going to be here for long, thanks to the use of Flashman stunning him, and Elemental Sonic Boom, Variable Sword. Variable Sword's Elemental Sonic Boom does get a lot better, though, when an enemy's weak to one of the 4 elements. Beastman's one of my favorite Navi chip series in the game. I'll talk more about why in a few moments, though, because we gotta head over to AC/DC Square for this side quest.
A Slasher B sub-chip for 6,000 zenny, great deal!
Hey, you, interested in a Oh, it's Megaman, right? Thanks for agreeing to take part in my pricing study. Time is money, so let me explain my request quickly. I need you to find out something about my younger brother. Our father wants his most talented son to inherit the company. So myself and my brother are locked in a vicious battle. I can't afford to lose this sales competition. Megaman, my brother is selling chips in Scilab Square. So go to him and secretly find out the price of his chips. Please help me out, I'll be waiting for you here. So now we need to go back to Scilab Square, which is where I just jacked in from anyway. And he's this guy.
Come take a look, pay 5,600 zenny, get this Slasher B. Shall I ring it up, sir? My price is lower than an AC/DC. You'll lose money if you buy it there. Buy it now, buy it now.
And now we know, so we head back to AC/DC Square and talk to his brother again. What was that? 5,600? And he doesn't even know my price. How can he be that cheap? I'll have to drop to 5,400 zenny. Sorry, Megaman, but could you please check one more time? This time I know I'll be cheaper. And back to Scilab Square we go again.
On sale, get this for 5,200 zennies. Slasher B, it's 200 zennies cheaper than an AC/DC. Buy it here.
You again? Nothing's gonna change here. Alright, and back to the main client once again. So the price is now 5,200 zenny. No, sorry Megaman, it's not important anymore. It seems my father was watching the both of us. He said that our bitter rivalry has disgusted him. Neither of us will be good heirs if we can't cooperate. I feel ashamed for being so nasty to my own brother. We both lost out, but don't worry, I'll honor my promise. As thanks from both of us, please take the chip we sell. And you get a Slasher B. That's a pretty good chip, but it'll only actively damage enemies if they're on your side of the field. A little awkward to use, but it's worth having around, especially as part of a program advance towards post-game, so make sure you grab it no matter what, plus you need it for 100% anyway. For now, though, we're jacking back into Lan's doghouse. Now, we've seen all the viruses in here normally already, but I'm looking for something in very specific. Notably, I mentioned earlier this video that when you have the Sneak Run subchip or Navicus program active, it tries to select harder viruses at a lower encounter rate. This area is one such place where that will very obviously happen. Notably, there's 2 viruses that won't show up at all normally unless you have Sneak Run active in some form. One of them isn't much to write home about, even though we still need its battle chip for program advance and library completion eventually anyway. But what I'm after is the second of those 2 enemies. So let's save up and go talk to that Mr. Program over there for a hint towards what's going to happen. What, I bark like a total beast? You're mistaken, I haven't been barking recently. Oh no, could there be a beast on the loose here? Haha, scared you. A beast, huh? Lately, that guy's been barking like a total beast. Even if people come on tiptoes, he seems to bark anyway. They are implying that Beastman Beta spawns in Lan's doghouse only if you've beaten Beastman Alpha, and if you have Sneak Run equipped in some form. But he's not the only enemy that shows up here. So do Spiky 3s. Now, Spiky 3s are a little weird with their attack and their battle chip in that it doesn't do the X formation anymore. It now attacks above and below the target panel. So if it hits me, it'll hit the panel above and below me, same if you use it as a battle chip, which is heat side. You're gonna need it for completion and a program advance, so grab it anyway. It's a good time to grab it now anyway, but I'm here for Beastman more so than the Spiky 3s. This is a case where you should really have a located enemy. I think I have a couple from doing the Number Man Trader, a lot of numbers earlier. Because if you run into Beastman and don't get the chips you want from him, you can at least guarantee you're gonna run into him again after that. And here's me getting Heat Side, so now that's in my library. But now it's time for the 2 Beastman refights, once I eventually found him. Just so I can say it in one of these videos, the same rules apply for getting a V2 and V3 Navi chip from the version 3 of a Navi. Version 2 will drop anywhere between busting ranks 7 and 10, V3 is 9 to S. What makes Beastman such a good Navi chip, though, is it does have an input command similar to Metal Man. Namely, the way Beastman's attack works is that one claw goes one diagonal, the next claw goes the next diagonal, and then the head charges across. But while any of those 3 projectiles is overlapping the enemy's tile, you can press A or B multiple times to get extra hits in for each part of that attack. I believe the maximum that's been confirmed by like Rockman.exe's own people is 14 hits. So if you manage to do that somehow, I think it's like almost TAS only at that point. That means you can do upwards of 840 damage with it alone. It is great. That is one of my favorite Navi chips in the game. It's sticking around with me throughout the rest of the campaign, really. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys so much for the weed number of subscribers a little bit ago. I'm trying to catch up. I know I've said that basically the past couple of videos I've been doing this, but I'm really trying to make a march here. Again, these aren't being uploaded even until I have the first 5 videos of this ready to go. It really means a lot. I know we hit that like last year, but genuinely the amount we've been growing the past year has really just put a lot of faith into my soul that I can do this, and at least people are enjoying my work, and that means a lot to me, because it feels like a lot of creative venues are being devalued these days, so even if you're just enjoying some idiot talk about video games for upwards of an hour at a time, and you're enjoying it, that means a lot. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 4, I guess we're gonna go help Mail install whatever she's having delivered. I'm sure that won't go awry in any way. What do you mean that's how plot scenarios in this series work? No, it isn't. Shut up. See you guys then.